Hi, I'm Old Norse specialist Dr. Jackson Crawford. I teach at the University of Colorado, previously at UC Berkeley and UCLA, and I'm a translator of Norse myths and sagas. Today, what I want to talk about is a little bit of a change of pace, kind of. I want to mention a little bit about what I don't know, or specifically, how I don't know. A lot of the questions that I get very regularly are questions that I simply have no ability to answer based on the surviving sources and resources that we have about the Viking Age or early medieval Scandinavia. People want to know how the Norse gods were worshipped, and I have a video talking about some of the evidence that we do have, but the fact remains that there's just not a whole lot of evidence about that, because while the Christian descendants were often happy to write down stories about the gods, they didn't want to write down anything that would help somebody worship what they regarded as false idols. People want to know all kinds of things about Viking grooming, and while we have a fair amount of information about Viking Age clothing, Thor Ewing has a good book about Viking clothing where you can read a lot about that if you'd like. It's very difficult for us to say with precision anything about specific grooming things, right? How exactly someone's beard might be trimmed, how exactly a man or woman might grow their hair out, especially because these things tend to change decade by decade, right? You can already see a huge difference just in hairstyle between now and say 30 years ago. It might well have been the same way in the Viking Age. You might have had very different hairstyles between Denmark and Iceland and Norway and Sweden and the British, the colonies in the British Isles, etc. People want to know about tattoos. Did the Vikings have tattoos? I think it's unlikely, but there is one source, Ahmed ibn Fadlan's account of the Rus funeral, that says they were covered in tattoos. So, you know, these things are just are uncertain. Of course, I'm pretty unwilling to take one source as a indication that everybody in the Norse world had tattoos, but right now tattoos are wildly popular, so everybody wants the Vikings to have had tattoos. And I can't for absolutely certain tell you that they did or didn't. In fact, probably the answer was, again, different from decade to decade and from country to country. People want to know the answers to mysterious questions like, how does Heimdallr have 9 mothers? Right, a fact that's referenced in a few different places. People want to know what happened when Loki ate a burning woman's heart and somehow produced children that way, as is hinted at in the poem Völuspá and Skama, the short Völuspá or Hyndluljóð. And we don't know the answers to those things. We just don't know. So what I would like to say to you on the subject of what I don't know, or what we scholars in this field don't know, is consider, when you're asking a question and I tell you that I don't know the answer, why I don't know the answer and how we possibly could know the answer, right? How could I possibly know how Vikings, did their hair or something, especially given how fast those customs change, right? Nobody's writing about that back in the Viking Age. How could we possibly know who Heimdallr's 9 mothers are, or how, I guess we have their names, but how exactly he had 9 mothers when no text explains it? The gurus of the internet like to come up with answers to these things and tell you that they know the reason. But the fact is, more things in Norse mythology are questions than they are than are ever answered, and that's part of, I think, what makes Norse mythology so appealing to people. Right? This is a set of foggy islands that we are adrift in the sea surrounding, and now and then we come in sight of the outline of an island, but we can never quite explore those shores. And I think that's part of what keeps it interesting. Some people are frustrated by not knowing the answers, but I would rather humbly, plainly acknowledge that there's a lot of things we don't know than start just trying to make things up, unless it's April Fool's Day. Well, I hope that has given you some insight into why I so often have to say I don't know. And I hope you'll be patient with me when I have to say that I don't know. Right now I have to be patient with myself because I am covered in dirt from head to toe from driving my truck on some of the highest roads that there are anywhere in the world, and getting it thoroughly screwed up and having to change a couple tires out. But I still love this country, so I'm going to forgive it and accept it as the price of the beauty of the majestic San Juans here in southwestern Colorado. Alright, well, if you enjoy these videos, hope you'll check out the more than 290 other videos I think on this channel already. I hope you'll check out my translations. I have translated the Poetic Edda, as well as the Saga of the Volsungs with the Saga of Ragnar Lothbrok. And as of September, it is late May as I say this, believe it or not, as of September, my translation of Havamal, or two translations of Havamal, my regular one and my Cowboy Havamal, along with the Old Norse text of Havamal, and my commentary on that text will be published as The Wanderer's Havamal by Hackett Publishing, the same publisher as for my previous two books, so I hope you'll look for that. For now, from the heart of the San Juans in beautiful southwestern Colorado, I'm wishing you all the best.